Hello, everybody, and welcome to Masters of Real Estate. My name is Mathew Owens, a California licensed CPA and full-time real estate investor. And today I'm going to talk to you about why I had to jump head first into real estate full-time with zero experience, zero knowledge of the industry, and why it was so important to be able to take that leap and be able to get out of the corporate world and get out of the corporate job and start building my own future for myself. It's actually pretty powerful because it was not easy. I've taken lots and lots of shots and punches in the face and learned a lot of lessons along the way that, really woke me up to realizing how hard it can be to really build wealth for yourself and get out of the rat race and actually be financially free without the knowledge, with the trials and tribulations you go through. So actually, I grew up in Torrance, California, in a suburb, and went to high school was right around the block. Had lots of friends, played basketball in high school, and really just a normal upbringing. I went to UC Santa Barbara, got a degree in economics with an emphasis in accounting. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do there. I actually wanted to be an architect, but loved the school so much that I had to actually stay there, even though they didn't have an architecture program there. And so I actually decided to do accounting because my dad did accounting. My dad was, someone I really, really looked up to and was a really strong figure in my life. And I really have a lot of respect, and he's where I get my moral compass from. Wouldn't even let me cheat on the taxes and things like that. He was a CPA and taught me, checkbooks and how to manage money and things like that, which is a huge advantage, of course, learning that at a younger age, making me do accounting homework while I was in college, things like that, right? And so I went to UC Santa Barbara, got a degree in economics with that emphasis in accounting, and immediately started working for a CPA firm. And I was doing tax and audit. Some of it was related to real estate in different ways, where we were auditing companies that were taking government subsidies for low-income housing and things like that. Got to learn the ins and outs from the operational side of things in real estate, still not really understanding how it was all getting put together, really just running through figures. And, it's a lot of times helping those companies with their internal controls, as well as understanding how to help them mitigate risk and really dial in their numbers so they could have a vision and understand how their business is performing as a whole. So got to see the business side of things doing that, was really, really excited doing that. The tax side on a whole nother level was just really boring, out of my mind, couldn't deal with talking to the IRS and things like that. Was good at both of these things, but something was missing. I was grinding and not making a lot of money. I think I started out at like $36,000 a year right out of college, which nowadays would probably permeate to like 100 or something like that. At the end of the day, though, I was learning a lot, learning corporate America, but something was missing. I needed to do something else where I could challenge myself. I was bored. I was going through monotonous type everyday tasks. It was over and over again type stuff. And it really started to get to me to the point where I literally wanted to cry going to work one morning going, I just can't do this for 40 more years. I'm going to end up just miserable for this period of time. So hopefully I can climb the ladder, and I'm seeing the managers and partners and how hard they work and, really just constantly, trading their time for money. And that's when I actually read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it taught me how to actually change the form of what I'm doing and to stop trading time for money and make different types of income. So the first thing was stop trading time for money. You can't do that really in a service-based business unless you are out there and building a business where other people do the work for you, and they're still trading time for money in those ways. You're not building assets to then create cash flow for you, to then continue to give you cash flow long term, right? So really important to understand is the key to this whole thing is, how do I find ways of building these assets that give me this cash flow and stop consistently trading my time for money? And so how do I do that, right? Do I go and start a bar? Do I start a CPA firm? Do I start another small business? I really wasn't sure what to do at that time working for that firm. And then one of my stepbrothers came to me and he said, hey, I got this real estate course. You got to come take a look at it. It's absolutely amazing. And come look at it. And I was like, oh, great. How much should you spend on this course? Automatically skeptical in my little CPA box. Don't take risks. Don't think outside the box type situation. Cause that's really what a lot of the school upbringing drills into you is stay in this standard, follow this path, don't deviate, and you'll be successful long term. But what did that turn into? That turns into being 65 or 75 and continually working and then dying broke, never understanding the right financial knowledge. Yes, you can do some amazing things working at a job, but you have to focus on the investment side too and building your long-term future if you're going to continue to trade that time for money in the meantime. Now, my stepbrother had called me to tell me about this course, and I immediately was like, yeah, whatever. I don't really believe you. He's like, no, you got to come take a look at this. This is 2 years of full education on every aspect of real estate. And I'm like, I don't know anything about real estate. What am I doing? And he's like, okay, you got to go. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'll go with you for this 30-minute little presentation and see what it's about. And it really, at the end of the day, I was probably going to flake on him, but he called me, 2 hours before the meeting, and he says, oh, you got to go. You got to make sure you're going. And so I finally went with him, and I immediately was hooked. I was drawn to the power of being able to do this because I had just read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book to teach you and show you got to make money being the business owner or being the investor, not the self-employed, not the W-2 wage earner. Otherwise, you'll never be free. You'll always be a slave to that job. And especially if it's a job you hate or is monotonous and just, grinds you and hurts you for a long period of time, it's hard to continue to focus on those things, right? And do that long term. That's a tough path to take. And I just couldn't emotionally do that. Of course, I didn't have kids at the time or anything like that. So, I took this course. I ended up taking about a year's worth of that course. Then I ended up getting my very first deal under contract where I was supposed to make $30,000 on a flip. And at the end of the day, I ended up making 20 because I did the math wrong and didn't know all the expenses involved. But at the end of the day, I ended up making 20. And when I got that deal under contract, I quit my CPA firm job. I could have stayed there. I was making good money at the time, not the 36 that I started with. I was, had good benefits. It wasn't commuting to work every single day, living in Los Angeles. That's a huge deal. Not having to commute very far. It was like a 10-minute drive from my house. Really being in a comfortable position and then realizing, hey, I need to push myself. I got to be able to get out there and do more. I tried to continue my education. I went through and got, took all the classes for my financial planning license to understand the investment side more. I went through and took this real estate course and just quit and said, I can't do this anymore. If I need to go back and work at a CPA firm, then I'll do that. But my mind was gone. Immediately, I was super interested and my learning curve was like this. And I still remember thinking, hey, I'm going to have time to go to the gym now every day. And I get to make my own schedule and deal with my, create the life I want. Little did I know that it was 14-hour days for 10 plus years, pushing before I learned how to delegate and push these things forward. And so I quit, went into real estate, did everything wrong in the beginning. I thought, hey, my books are done, so I'm a very good business owner at this point. So I'm like, okay, I know exactly where I'm at because my books are done and we know what's going on there. Of course, there's marketing and sales and operations and management and team and all these different things that go into business that I just was clueless about because I was still the technician at the time. So, and of course, that mindset shift from technician to entrepreneur and business owner is a tough one to actually get through. You have to learn that. It takes a period of time to go through that process and take your hits before you can get to that level as an entrepreneur and a business owner. And so I actually went through and got my first flip under contract. We were doing the deal. Me and my stepbrother both quit our jobs. He was a computer programmer and an electrical engineer, and my other stepbrother was a computer programmer as well. And literally went through, we all three quit to go into real estate full time off of one deal, and then ended up immediately getting like 3 or 4 more deals under contract right away because we were so focused on it. All of us were like high level performers, wanted to get our stuff done, really all went the traditional education route and all wanted out, of course. You can imagine how monotonous computer programming and electrical engineering can be. It's just like the CPA world where, I was just, going crazy dealing with this stuff, right? And so at the end of the day, we started grinding. We started doing a couple of deals a month, like 2, 3, 4 deals a month consistently. And at the end we thought we were dope. We're like, this is great. We're flipping houses. Meanwhile, it is 2006. We didn't realize that everybody in real estate in 2006 was dope at that time. We didn't realize that we really didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were just getting lucky because of the market, super easy to get loans, all types of stuff that was happening that was positive. We were buying them, renovating them, and tenting them, and reselling them to other investors that wanted the cash flow, and we're starting to sell them very, very quickly. We were doing them in a month or 2 months consistently. We had a good team that was helping us on the ground. We got lucky in the beginning with some of those team members, and then some team members not so much, right? And of course, you go through that process. So this is 2006, and we went and got an office at the World Trade Center in Long Beach on the 23rd floor for like $5,000 a month, thinking we were dope, overlooking all of Long Beach and everything. It was beautiful, sold a hell of a lot of houses. We ended up selling about 4 to 5 houses every single month consistently. And then all of a sudden, we went and put a bunch of our capital into these deals because we were selling them so fast. We thought we were going to move them that fast, and the lending market stopped. We were literally at a point where we're going, how do we get these things financed? None of our buyers could get these properties financed. The buyer pool fell out of the market. We went through 6, 7 different brokers trying to get them refinanced, and they all thought that they could get them done, but they couldn't get them done either, and didn't know why, didn't realize the entire monetary system was about to blow up in the massive liquidity crisis that occurred and right at the peak of 2007 with all of these really bad loans that went through and all this supply about to come onto the market. And so I ended up, I had a 790 credit score. We were flipping houses. I'm a CPA. We started, had an office at the World Trade Center. My ego at that point was way up here. I was thinking I was the shit, of course, at that time, realizing that I didn't really know what the heck I was doing and had to learn the hard way. And my ego got destroyed during that period of time and literally took such a massive punch in the face. I took out 200 grand on my credit cards to try to float the ship and pay my investors back because they were taking haircuts when we were trying to liquidate these properties off. I had to hunker down, go on unemployment for a period of time, try to go through and self-sustain and make the business work and just grind it out. Had a home office, was literally grinding it out, barely getting by. I had $30,000 to my name, and that's all I had while I was going and grinding. But because we went and paid our investors back, we were able to start buying properties again and doing joint venture flips along the way. And we would charge a fee for doing that, for rehab management and acquisition fees and things like that to help keep the lights on. And so we're making about $5 grand a pop as we went through and did that. And we started doing 5 of these consistently a month out of necessity to keep grinding. My stepbrothers and I went our different ways because it was just too much overhead to deal with, too much stress to deal with. We're all 3 of us losing everything at the same time when we went all into this at the worst time possible, or you could look at it as the best time possible, because taking that loss and that ego destruction was probably the best thing that ever actually happened to me. So, and looking at the reasons now why I pushed through, I didn't want to go back to that slavery mentality over here to constantly be a slave to that job over and over again. I needed to continue to drive through and push. And I didn't realize at the time because, don't get me wrong, I'm looking at the job boards going, I need to make like 300 grand a year. I'm not going to be able to deal with this. This is going to be too much work to deal with. And so at the end of the day, that pain pushed me to want to go do that and go to that stability, but I didn't. And I kept driving forward and kept taking action item after action item after action item to get through and grind through that instability and that lack of security and just that consistent stress that's on you. And as an entrepreneur and a business owner, that stress doesn't really go away. There's still problems that exist. There's still cash flow needs. There's deals that you're doing. There's things that go wrong. There's, problems and stresses you have to deal with in your life on top of the business side, of course, too. There's the work-life balance aspect. All these things are key to that mindset and what's important to push you through that adversity when it comes up. So grinding, pushing, and consistently moving forward, especially if you've taken some hits recently, is the most important thing and the most empowering thing you can do to truly be successful. And so me grinding through in that instance, when I lost everything, when I say it was the best thing that happened to me, it taught me how to stand back up after failure or after temporary defeat. It pushed me forward to literally make as much money as I possibly could to get out of that situation and grind. Since then, we've flipped over 1,000 houses now. We have raised over $150 million for real estate. We have over $35 million lent out to flippers in different markets around the country. We are absolutely killing it. That doesn't mean that we don't have problems. We don't have headaches to deal with, deals that go bad, different investors that we're, handling in different ways, massive amounts of workload where you can work too much if you really push yourself. So all these things can still exist if you don't control them and make sure that you're very strategic in your methods and your ability to handle those problems. And that first hit that I took, when I say it was the best thing that ever happened to me, it made all the other hits be able to wipe those clean. I got stolen from by multiple people for over $400,000, $500,000 in this 15 plus year journey of investing in real estate on top of this hit. I've had horrible property managers, contractors that are horrible, just problems with cities. There's a million things that can go wrong. At the same time, that first hit allows me to wipe those off my shoulder, focus on the solution instead of the problem, and make even more money long term. And I try to go through and mitigate all the risks that I see from all the trials and tribulations I've gone through. You can imagine how much brain damage I have from contractors, from flipping over 1,000 houses now, and then now coming out and being able to push forward and persevere and continue to grind through the problems that I still deal with as a business owner. And all of you as a business owner, or even if you're working for another person right now, you go through lots of trials and tribulations as well as your own personal life, financially. It's even harder going that route sometimes, especially emotionally. So I hope this helps you guys understand you can push through adversity in 2024. You can push through adversity and any problems that come up, and you end up stronger and 10 times better on the other side of those things. So I hope this helped add some value to your life in 2024 and helped you if you're struggling right now and need to push through that adversity. Do you want to learn how to create financial freedom in your life through real estate and take your investing business to the next level? If so, you can follow us in one of the following ways. First, you can take one of our free webinars on how to analyze property, how to raise capital for real estate, and how to market and find deals. 3 of the key pillars to becoming a successful real estate investor. Number 2, you can join us on our mailing list where you'll get tips and tricks on real estate investing directly to your inbox. And number 3, you can take our 6-month real estate course that teaches you every aspect of real estate investing you can think of, and more importantly, create financial freedom in your life through real estate investing strategies that I teach. If you want a master's in real estate in 6 months, this course is for you. We're going to go over how to raise money, promissory notes, syndications, fixing and flipping, buy and hold investing, tax and legal structures, self-directed retirement accounts, financial education, how to run a business, how to market and find your deals, and most importantly, how to create that financial freedom in your life so that you can stop trading your time for money and create passive real estate cash flow that you can live off of. If you're interested, go ahead and click on one of the links below, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side.